Have you ever noticed that the moment you pass airport security, everything suddenly changes? The lighting changes, the signs change, the stores suddenly appear. And somehow, people start spending money they never planned to spend. A coffee becomes $10. A bottle of water suddenly feels reasonable at $5. One purchase turns into another. And before you know it, you've spent more than expected. So here's the question. Why does this happen in almost every airport on Earth? Is it just convenience? Or is something much bigger happening behind the scenes? Because modern airports aren't designed only to move passengers. They're designed to influence them. And once you see how the system works, you'll never walk through an airport the same way again. Imagine you're about to catch a flight. Everything feels completely normal. You check your bags, print your boarding pass, go through security. Then something strange happens. You enter a completely different world. Suddenly, you're surrounded by luxury stores, restaurants, coffee shops, and bright advertisements. And thousands of travelers suddenly seem to have time to kill. It feels natural, almost inevitable. But that feeling was carefully designed. Let's start with the most important moment: security. Most people think airport security exists for one purpose: safety. And of course, that's true. But security also creates something incredibly valuable: a psychological reset. And that's where the real system begins. Think about what happens. You arrive stressed, distracted, and focused only on your flight. Your luggage, your passport, your boarding gate. Your mind is somewhere else. Then you pass security, and suddenly, the hardest part is over. Your stress drops, and something else drops with it. Your guard drops too. And relaxed people tend to spend more money. And airports know this. That's why shopping areas almost always begin immediately after security. Not before security, after. Because that's when you're most receptive to influence. And that's where the next hidden trap begins. Time itself? Now here's where things get even more interesting. Time inside airports feels strangely different. Have you ever noticed how difficult it is to feel time passing inside many airports? Sometimes there are clocks, sometimes there aren't, but time rarely feels obvious. And that's not necessarily an accident, because airports don't want you constantly thinking about leaving. When travelers focus on the clock, they focus on departure. But when travelers relax, something very different happens. They start wandering, browsing, exploring, spending. In other words, passengers slowly become customers. And the longer you stay in that state, the more likely you are to spend.
The more time you spend, the more you buy. Spending skyrockets, just like this graph.
Now look at the path itself. This is where the system becomes impossible to ignore. Have you ever noticed how rarely airport gates are located directly after security? Instead, you're guided through a maze of shops, restaurants, and displays. Luxury brands, duty-free aisles, electronics, temptation at every turn. This isn't random. It's the result of years of behavioral research. Designers discovered something powerful. Exposure changes behavior. Every extra minute spent in commercial areas increases the chance of a purchase. Think of it like the supermarket trick, just on a much larger scale. You came to catch a flight, but first, you walk through a shopping center. And that's when one of the most famous airport tricks comes into view: duty-free. Duty-free might be the most successful illusion in the entire airport. The words themselves sound powerful. Duty-free, tax-free, special opportunity. And that's exactly where the illusion begins. Because most travelers never compare prices before buying.
No time, just grab them all. Yes, got everything.
Many people simply assume they're getting a bargain. The environment itself creates the feeling of value. And then another psychological force appears: urgency. You're traveling. You may never pass this exact place again. And temporary opportunities trigger powerful buying behavior. Whether the discount is amazing or average, the urgency often works either way.
The feeling sells.
But the biggest surprise isn't duty-free. It's the business model hiding underneath everything. Most people assume airports make their money from airplanes. And airplanes do generate revenue. But that's only part of the story. Because airports earn money from far more than flights. Retail, restaurants, coffee shops, every purchase feeds the system. Even parking lots generate massive hidden revenue. Advertising is one of the most invisible income streams. Together, they form a massive commercial ecosystem. Suddenly, everything, the layout, shops, and routes, makes perfect sense. The airport isn't just a transport hub, it's a business machine that happens to move airplanes. And once you see this system, you start noticing it everywhere you go. Because airports are just one example of a much bigger pattern. Every environment you enter is designed with a purpose you never think about. Some systems guide your attention without you even realizing it. And the most powerful systems are the ones that feel completely normal. Because they're designed not to be noticed. But once you understand them, your perception completely changes. You stop seeing places and start seeing mechanisms. And that changes how you move through the world forever. And if you think airports were surprising, wait until you see what football stadiums are really designed to do.